I'm live. I'm live. I adjusted permissions and worked my phone. That's amazing. Okay. Hi. I am Mindy. I am Mindy and I'm living intentionally. And I have something that I need to talk about, and I have a lot of things that I need to talk about that I want to talk about, and I have a really hard time staying focused, but this is really important. And what it is like a Me Too story, I guess. So bear with me. I mean, something a long time ago, I did go live, and life didn't go well after that. I never did it again, but not because of that, just shit happens. But okay, so there is there's this thing that I experienced, and I I really want to say that, like, I'm not being all dramatic. I'm trying to come to terms with it. And in doing that, it's like, what can I do to prevent other people from going through what I went through? Because I encountered a sexual predator and I did not involve the law properly in order to deal with that. And now this person is just out in the world and they could be raping other people. And that doesn't feel good at all. So, okay, I was raped. For a long time, I didn't even count it, because I have this idea that I've kind of always had, that you can't rape the willing, and it's a lot easier to just go along with it. If a guy really wants to have sex with you and you're not in a position to physically fend him off, then it's better to have sex and let him just have his way than be forcibly raped. But you know what? I think it's actually just as traumatic to lay there and wait for it to be over. And in my case, I did not even I was like, well, it's my fault. I was drunk. I was so drunk that I couldn't sit up against a wall on a carpeted floor. I was so drunk, and he wasn't drunk at all. And for the longest time, I just didn't realize, because they don't teach you these things. And the world is just now coming around to yeah, dude, you don't just pull your dick out in front of someone that you're just friends with, or any girl that you want to date. You don't do that. And at the time, I dismissed it because I legit thought this guy was autistic on the spectrum, and I gave him so many free passes because of that. You have no idea. And it's possible that he is, and you know what? Then someone needs to educate him, and awareness needs to be made. So I had this idea. It was #safe-rape, because I said yes, it wasn't all forcibly, horribly ripping off my clothes, and I made sure that a condom got involved. #safe-rape. What? That's that's what I'm thinking. And I've been sitting with this, living with this for over 2 years, and the guy is completely out of my life. I don't have any reason for him to come up, but I'm traumatized. I'm traumatized by it. I close my eyes and I see his face. I try to visualize myself just hey, I'm relaxed and just want to just try to kind of step outside myself and see what I look like while I'm trying to fall asleep, or like, do I look pretty today? And I try to step outside myself and visualize myself, and I see his face, and I'm like, oh no. Um, so, I thought it was just something that I had to live with, and it's just part of me that's going to be broken and damaged forever. And it got a lot better. It got a lot better. And I thought that it was like kind of done. And then I ran into him at the store. And nothing happened. Like, not a thing happened. I smack hightailed it out of there. But immediately it was just fresh. And I was having nightmares, and I couldn't stop thinking about him. And I don't believe that the mind, it has its malfunctions because it wants to hurt you. And so trying to figure out what was going on with that, it's like, well, why can't I let it go? And I think it's because, like, I'm not doing anything to stop it from happening to someone else, and that's gotta stop. So I'm gonna tell you his name. I'm gonna give you 50 pictures of him, and what I want is for everyone to be aware that this person did not know how to conduct themselves in a way that made them a rapist. But like, I don't think that he really understood that he was a rapist. And that's really messed up. Like, we have to, like, make the world aware of what rape is. We have to teach boys, men, 30-year-old men. We have to tell them what constitutes rape and teach them not to be rapist, or they might accidentally be. Because if a girl is too drunk to sit up or speak an intelligent sentence, keep her eye open, then she's not, like, okay to give consent. And the situation was not even a date. Like, I think of it as date rape because that's when you get so drunk that a guy has his way with you, and it wasn't even a date. He was just a friend. I told him in no uncertain terms that he and I could not be. He's an atheist and a narcissist, and I am spiritual and loving, and it was not possible. Like, I felt for this guy, but there was a whole bunch of stuff wrong with it. A whole bunch of stuff wrong with it. So here's what happened. I became uncomfortable with the level of his involvement in my life, his level of comfort, at just kind of moving into my life and taking all my time. And all I wanted, and we had dated for a minute because I had a psychotic break following my best friend's boyfriend's suicide in the fucking woods, blowing his brains out. I was a little messed up from that, and that's when he came into my life. And that in and of itself, like, is swooping in at, like, when I'm weak, like, that's sketch. But I went psychotic. I mean, I'm just gonna tell you, my psychotic delusion that I entertained was that my boyfriend, who I loved, who dumped me, like, I'm talking, like, love of my life, like, he is the one, like, I somehow managed to be okay with that because it was revealed that it wasn't real, but my best friend had her love and her boyfriend and her one, and it was like, love is real, and I'm so happy for you, and I'm just glad that that love exists in the world. So I was really, really messed up when uh he killed himself, and I thought that this empty loser person, Josh Cockrell. Cockerel? I don't know if it's Cocker like Cocker Spaniel or Cockrell. I definitely have it written down somewhere, but it's Joshua Jones. And he he was just a loser. Like, he'd come over and drink and just like pass out while I was talking, like in the middle of conversation that's like interesting. Like, we're talking about like conspiracy theories and like spiritual like introspection and like deep stuff. And he'd just pass out. So I just kind of like regarded him as this vessel. Like, he was ate up from whatever drugs he'd done. And because, well, what his drug of choice is dextromethorphan, hydrobromide, Dexine, Tussin. That's not cool. That'll eat you up. And it did him. He was ate up. And I recognized that. So I thought that, like, his soul wasn't so much occupying his body. And Maddie's soul, my friend's boyfriend's soul, who recently killed himself, like, got in to that body. And, then at the same time, uh, because I'm experiencing that, like, and it's like so fucked up. It's so fucked up because it's not like I thought that. Like this guy who does not look like my friend's boyfriend at all. He looked like him. He looked like him. I saw him. He was standing in my room. Josh did everything he could to support my delusion. He was like, "Yeah, we're going to get Lexi, and I'm on the phone with her now." And like he did everything he could to support my delusion, and that only made it worse for me, and I went crazier. And so the trauma happened, the trauma bonding happened, and I didn't like I got a little clearer. I mean, after I got a lot less clear. After we went to a graveyard and I buried a pony, a My Little Pony. I like after I went to a graveyard and buried a My Little Pony, I was able, like, I was like, he wasn't Maddie anymore. I knew we weren't going to see Lexi, and he didn't know her. And the the whole experience like felt like having like support, and he was there for me. And I had lost my boyfriend, and for my thinking, like, okay, the pure heart, the soul that was too pure for this world, like, could occupy this, I mean, ugly guy. Josh Jones is an ugly guy. Like, ugly guy. This ugly, gross guy, like, his body could become a vessel for pure souls. And so I had the delusion that his body was, like, momentarily sometimes becoming a vessel for my ex-boyfriend's soul. And my ex-boyfriend wasn't dead. He just went through trauma hell with me when I had a psychotic episode following my grandma's sudden death after a fall. And I mean, like, I put him through fucking hell. Fucking hell. And he was, like, so traumatized that it's like part of him, like, died, sort of, and he was really empty. And it's like he wasn't even there. It's like he wasn't even him. It's like he didn't even see me. And so I thought that his soul had jumped into this open vessel and that I could be with him that way. Now, all I did was like date Josh for like a minute, like a month maybe. We like made out really passionately, and it was like it was so just like being with my ex-boyfriend. It was crazy how he just like filled in that space. Um and he just, I mean, he thought I was like awesome, you know. Uh of course he was getting a lot of attention, and I was loving him, and people need love, and he needed love. His family had really written him off, and for good reason. His mom actually warned me when I met her. Now, when I met her, I was psychotic. And I think that might be why the warning didn't like take so well. She did warn me. I was talking about like what a sweet guy Josh is, and like, oh, your son, you're so lucky to have such a good sweet boy. And she was like, I do not know what person you're talking about, but that's not my son. Like, I've never known him to be like that. It doesn't sound like that's not even him. Like, she told that to me. She also told me that smudging and trying to remove evil spirits wouldn't matter because I had invited him in. And, like, you should know, he told me when we were friends and talking about things that he was afraid he was the Antichrist, and his mom thought that he was possessed and gave him an exorcism. It didn't take. I thought I was the Antichrist too, but I wasn't afraid of it. I was just like, rock on. So there were so many parallels in this loser guy and me. It looked for all the world just like a me, like a sweet person who had a good heart and meant well and been through a lot and just like got handed a shit hand time and again. That is not what it was at all. He was lazy. He is lazy. He is narcissistic, like insanely so. Every fucking art project he did in college was his name, himself, like it was like, whoa, this is like really revealing right here. And then he would not take his daughter to the dentist because he didn't have money, because he would rather spend $60 fucking dollars on comic books a month than take care of his daughter who has jank fucking teeth. Oh my god, that girl needed a dentist so bad. Like, oh my god. It was like he wouldn't buy her a bed. Like, we got an apartment together. I was fucking shit out of luck, yo. My boyfriend didn't want to be with me. I'm severely disabled. I can't earn money. I can't take care of myself. Sometimes I need to be waited on hand and foot, like every meal prepared, and I will and do scream in pain because I have severe nerve damage that feels like my leg is being ripped off my body, like zombies are fucking taking it away. And, like, who can blame my ex-boyfriend for not wanting that, right? Like, no matter how much he loved me, 7 years is enough, right? I know. And, so, the relationship was really brief with Josh, and we never had sex. We never did anything more than make out. Like, I once, like, touched his bulge on the outside of his pants, and he like came immediately, like the most I've ever seen. It was like, oh my god. And yeah, I I had like a whole bunch of other stuff going on, and had a really big problem with the only way that I was able to be with Josh, like to make out with him or to have affection for him, is that like my mind was jacking up or my spirit was jacking up or I was seeing things, I don't know, whatever. I looked at him and just like I saw Maddie standing in the bedroom that day, like I would see Sean, I would see my ex-boyfriend, and and I would have to close my eyes to, to make out with him, and I would open my eyes and be increasingly alarmed that I wasn't making out with my boyfriend. Like I was not good. I was not good. And that prompted me to want to end things. And how that came about is like really wild because my friend called me and like, oh my God, my like oldest ex-boyfriend, like the first guy that I dated after my original high school boyfriend, we stayed friends. He moved to New York. He was like, you're broken up. I want you to come visit me. Like, I'm going to try to save money. And I was like, dude, my grandma actually left me money and I have money right now. I can come see you. And it was not like some weird like New York booty call. It wasn't like that like at all. And that was just happening concurrently with me being like, I really need to end things with Josh. Like, he has no interest in any spirituality. He believes nothing matters. He has no remorse. He's psychopathic. Really, really. He doesn't regret anything. He doesn't feel bad for things. He does evil things. He steals constantly. He used me in my wheelchair in my mental fog to steal things with his daughter, his like 9-year-old daughter along. And she was learning how to steal. And like we'd go to the store and have to fucking like keep her from stealing shit because she was learning from him. It was so messed up. Like this guy should not be in his kid's life. And he also should not be procreating. Fucking cut it off, people. I mean, I I I don't believe that we should have the freedom to make people. I think that you should have to pass a class, get certified, and be genetically sound because inbreeding is fucking real. And so I'm totally pro castration, sterilization, like population is the fucking problem here. Like we're not running out of room. We're just not managing things properly. It's fucking stupid. The world is so fucking stupid. Anyway, I digress. I do that. The relationship was not going anywhere, and it was just like we kept having fights over stupid things. Like he wanted me to watch this movie, Silver Linings, and I was like, rather than just sit and watch this movie, like tell me what you value about it. Like I want to see it through your eyes because I'm really not enjoying. Like fucking, I hated it. I like didn't understand why anybody liked it. Like I think it got like good reviews and awards, and it's like it's such garbage, and I like did not want to sit through it at all. And so I'm like, oh, I care about what you care about, and I want to see it through your eyes. Like tell me why you like it, and help me to enjoy it. And like that started a fight because all he wanted to do was sit and stare at the TV. And it was like, that was really like the last of it. That was the last thing. Silver Linings was the last thing where I decided that we were done and we could never, 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 never have a future together. No matter how much I adored his daughter, his mother, and how, I guess, like, easy it could have been to just, like, keep him sexually satisfied and use him, I guess. That's like, horrific. Like, I didn't settle down with this guy that I went to see in New York. Like, oh my God, like, he could have been the one. And he he felt the same way about me too, and it just like it didn't feel right. It like felt like I would be using him or something, and I had so much stuff. I had so much self-work to do. It just like it was just timing. It was just not the right time. But luckily he stayed in my life and invited me to New York. And so I'm out on the deck and I'm like, "Oh, dude, I'm going to New York, and before I go to New York, I want to break up with you. I want you to know that it's completely done." And he was like, "You're breaking up with me to fuck the guy in New York." And I was like, "Wow, do you not know me at all? Sex is so sacred. Like our souls are intertwined. Like that's like, are you kidding me? Like I'm like the most like prude, I guess. I mean, it is what it is, yo. Like, you have sex with someone and you are never away from them. They are part of the reality that you manifest to experience for the rest of this life. Maybe other lifetimes. Like, if you only knew what I knew, you would know. Don't be a hoe. That's so fun. That's so funny. That's so mean. It's like, like you're not supposed to slut shame, but like there's a reason you have shame about it. There's a reason there is shame about it. Like it's fucking messed up. So like, oh, spoiler alert, I didn't go to New York and fuck this guy. I did drink with him and like made out with him for like 30 seconds. It was like I was like, "Oh, no, I can't do this." And he was like and he was cool about it. He was like, "It's just casual. I'm a better person because we went out and I'm like so happy that you stayed part of my life and I just want you to have a good time and you deserve good things. You deserve to have a competent sexual partner," which he knows I've never had because I then had only had sex with people who had had sex with one other person. Like, even if you count, like, that you've had sex with everyone that has had sex with previously, like, I have a remarkably low number there, too. Until, Josh raped me. Until Josh raped me. I don't know how many people Josh has been with. I don't trust that the number that he gave me is right, and I don't remember what it is now. I'm sure it's written down somewhere because, oh, by the way, I write down everything. I timestamp and quote what you say to me. Dude, like, I have record of shit, so, anyway, that's further down the road. We were living together, and he tried to gaslight me, and, like, that's not gonna work when I'm, like, the way I keep track of reality, that's not gonna work, bro. And, yeah, I totally knew he was gaslighting me. And, so that's what he thought when I went off to New York, and he was pissed because like he'd been pretty much he'd like moved in with me. His mom lived out in the country and he like wanted to be in the city, closer to school, closer to work, closer to his daughter, and he was just using me for that. And so anything that threatened him like being in my apartment, he was like, "Oh, like let's work this out," and whatever. It didn't occur to me that it was like purely using me, like that he was that psychopathic narcissistic at the time, but like I see it now. And I have a lot of mucus. Okay. So I went to New York, came back, like Josh was wanting to be in my life. He wanted to move in and I didn't want him to move in, but I didn't like just like the fact of the matter is that I needed someone there. I needed someone to take care of me periodically. And at the time I was like having this problem where as soon as I was alone, like I just lost it. Like, I would just wander from room to room, repeating, like, the last thought that I had. I would never do anything. I wasn't eating. I wasn't bathing. Like, when I was left alone, I spun out hardcore. So, like, I was clinging to him, and I used him, and it was mutual to an extent because I had to recover from the psychiatric medication that I had been put on following my psychotic episode where I thought I was in love with him, but not really, because I just thought that my ex-boyfriend's soul was in him, and that's how, like, I had to look past the hideousness to see my ex-boyfriend. Which is funny because, like, vanity is so big. Like, my ex-boyfriend is so superficial and vain, and it would be a soul challenge for me to spot, like, him not in a vessel that's beautiful and thin and young, and oh my god, my ex-boyfriend is, like, the most beautiful person on the face of the fucking earth. And, so, I wanted to help him out, and I let him stay with me for a while, and that went very badly. It was a 2-bedroom apartment, and I gave him, you know, the bedroom, and he filled it with comic books, and he spread the comic books all over the floor, and then he couldn't sleep in the bedroom anymore. He had to sleep on the floor in the living room. So then, he was in the living room sleeping and breathing his death breath, filling the space that I was trying to live in, and, like, being like, oh, you know, don't wake me, and like, that's not cool. Like, that's not cool. Like, nobody in their right mind would do that, right? Like, here's a bedroom. Oh, yeah, well, I filled it with comic books, so now I have to take your living room, too. That was fucking telling, yo. And I was like, you gotta get out. You gotta go back to your mom's. I don't fucking care. Like, you gotta get out. And I was like, you know, we can still be friends. We can see each other occasionally, but, like, I don't want you in my life like you have been. And we're not gonna hang out probably, like, but once a month. And he was not okay with that. So what he did then was manipulate me from removing this toxic, like, asshole person from my life by threatening suicide. Oh, yeah, boys do that too. And it was, I didn't want him to kill himself, and I did need a roommate, and, you know, I thought he was just, like, down on his luck and retarded and sad, and I felt sorry for him, and I really, really loved his daughter. Really, really loved his daughter. Like, that is, like, my soul child, and oh, that's so fucked up, yo. His wife, that, like, they had the baby out of wedlock because they were doing drugs and having sex even though they didn't want to be together. And that's how she came to be, while both of them were checked the fuck out. But she has the same birthday as me, and I went to high school with her, and everywhere we went, everyone thought that Lily was mine. And the first cat I ever had that I got with my ex-friend, like, I can't have kids, I don't want to have kids, and same with him. That was, like, we were in it for life, and us getting that cat was like us having a child. We assigned that to it, and that was Lily. Our first cat, our first child was Lily, and here comes along this guy, and his daughter's Lily, and, like, people think she's my daughter, and she was great. She was so much like me as a kid. Like, she's gotta be pretty messed up, because the problems that I have that made me like that as a kid was, like, schizophrenic issues. And so, I didn't want to lose her more than anything, but, I also didn't want to be homeless. Not a family member of mine would take me in. They regard me as, I don't even know. I guess, like, I know that they think I'm a drug addict because I've been prescribed opiates to deal with crippling neuropathy, but, like, you know, whatever. I mean, I was evil. I was incredibly evil and incredibly frightening to be around, years before, I was a very different person before I realized love and fell in love with my ex-boyfriend. A completely different person before I became uh, physically disabled and dependent, and like that has been this catalyst for personal growth like you wouldn't believe. Like I would never take it back, but I am done with it now. It's taught me all it needs to teach me, I think. Like, let's let it go already. And it doesn't go. It just is like, that's life. Oh, well. Yeah. So, we started looking for an apartment together, and we took kid with us, and it felt good. It felt good. Like we were good friends. We were gonna do life. It was gonna be great. And then, like, I don't know I don't know what people hear when I say this, but he was like, "I want to be with you still. Like, can't we work out?" And I was like, "There's no way that we can be together if we can't even be friends and live together." So like, you can't even ask me that until we've actually lived together. I can tell you right now, like, don't expect anything because we are just friends. Um, but you know, he never stopped trying it, he never stopped wanting it, he never stopped stealing kisses and like being fucking smarmy. He never stopped doing that, and that sucks. But guys are like that. Guys are like that. They, you know, they think with their dicks, and I mean, I am irresistible. Who can blame them? I'm the best thing since sliced, baby, and I know it. So, yeah. Things were okay. We found this pretty decent apartment, and we signed the lease, and then even though we'd had this conversation about not bringing appliances or furniture into the living situation without getting approval, because he has hoarding tendencies, quite frankly. To be perfectly honest with you, he has hoarding tendencies, and his mother has hoarding tendencies. And that was important to me, that I not allow that to happen. And so we need, you know, if we're going to have a shared appliance, then it needs to be something that both of us approve of, and you know, not what's on sale because he's so fucking cheap. Like I never like had a thought of prejudice about the Jewish people until this guy. Um, cause that I would even like think to say like he's a cheap Jew is fucking mind blowing. That's probably the first time I've ever like said that about anyone in my life. I don't. It's crazy. It's crazy. This is how prejudice happens, and because I was traumatized by someone with these characteristics and facial features. So we found the apartment, and things were going pretty well. We were moving everything out of my apartment that I'd had with my ex-boyfriend, and we got in this fight that to this day does not make any sense, but it's really, really bad. Um, you know, banker's boxes? They're cardboard. And you don't move a banker's box holding it with one handle because physics. And he was moving my fucking things. He was moving my things, my precious belongings, in banker's boxes with one hand. Like it was like, oh my god, use both hands when you handle that box. And he was like, don't you fucking tell me what to do. And he, like that. I don't snap well. Fuck, I don't snap well. But like that monster. I'd never seen him like that. He'd never talked to me like that. As soon as we signed that lease, he had free reign to be himself. And who he is a monster. That's the moral of the story. That's why I'm telling you this, because there's a monster in the world, and he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. He presents as meek, quiet, nerdy little comic book geek, nice guy, wanna be your friend, friend-zoned motherfucker, and he is a sexual predator. You would never think it. You would never think it. So you need to know. So I'm outing him. Yay! And, when we had that fight about the banker's box, about when you're moving my things, you will move my things as I tell you to handle them. And this is also just common sense and logic that you're fighting. We had that fight, and he wouldn't leave the apartment. It was my apartment. He wouldn't leave the apartment. I told him to leave. I wanted him to leave. He wouldn't leave. He stood in front of the front door, and he wouldn't let me leave, and he wouldn't leave. And that was scary. And that was the very first time that I was ever scared of him. And it was not the last. It was not the last by a long shot. I needed space. I needed to get away from him, and he wouldn't leave, and I couldn't leave. So I told him that we needed to put a pin in it, and I tried to go to another room. I tried to go to my bedroom, and he wouldn't leave me alone. He followed me everywhere I went. He wouldn't stop talking about it. He was acting like he wanted to make things better, but also wasn't sorry about the fight. It was a problem. It was a big problem. And so then the toaster thing happened. And it's hard to explain to someone, like, the toaster thing happened, and or it was a coffee maker, I'm sorry. He used my Hello Kitty toaster and somehow put a Sharpie in it, which resulted in a fireball and no more toaster. Yeah. But this was a coffee maker. And I didn't drink coffee, and I didn't approve of how he drank coffee either. But, like, I wasn't trying to prevent him from having a coffee maker. I was drinking coffee at the time, too. I wanted to be sure it was something that was good for both of us. And we agreed in apartment agreements in writing with signatures that we would not bring appliances or furniture of mutual use and shared living space into the apartment without approval of both parties. And he broke it. He broke that immediately. And so I went to his mom and I said, you know what? It's not going to work out. I need you to take him back. We've got to get off of this lease. I can't do it. And she was like, nope. I can finally have my life with my husband. I'm free of that monster. Nope. And I couldn't explain to her why the coffee maker was an issue. And you know what? I don't think I needed to explain anything. I think she knows full well that her son is a monster. I don't know if she knows he's a rapist. I am going to try to tell her, but I don't know how I can get in touch with her. But yeah, so we were locked in this lease, and I'm not going to pretend as though I had no choice, because that's not the truth. And what I had were choices that were not ideal for me, and I'm going to tell you exactly what they are. I could potentially move to the country, like, a stone's throw from where he would be living with his mom, and I would be in a little trailer, like, a minute drive from someone who I fucked over near a railroad track. Like, it didn't seem like a good idea. It didn't seem like a good idea. And I'm not kidding that my friend who would take me in the country That's the only option I had for living other than homelessness. And this other option I'm going to tell you about was right down the street from Josh's mom's house. Janya Rakowski. And, man, that was messed up. That was really messed up. Of all the places that he could have been living, it was right there. And so I didn't feel like I would be safe. And I didn't go that route. The other option that I examined, that I looked at, that I had, was to go to my ex-boyfriend and be like, this guy is dangerous. This guy scares me. I thought I could get this apartment with him, and now I can't. Now I know that it will end badly, and I'm telling you that I don't want to live with you, and I don't want to do this to you, but I want you to get on that lease instead. I just want the name to change over. And I didn't do that. I didn't want to go crying to my ex-boyfriend. He needed space to heal from what we went through. He needed space to find himself, to grow up. I mean, like, he was like just a boy. We're the same age, but like, I've had a really hard life, and he's had like a really sweet little Johnson County brat life, and that makes us like, whoa, really different in age, because life experience, like, it's not how old you are, it's how much experience you have, and I have had a very full life, lots of experiences, and he hasn't. So that's what I mean when I say he was young. We're only 6 months apart, but he needed to experience life, and I needed to give him that. And I'm going to tell you exactly, if he is the one that I believe he is, then if I let him go, he will come back. He will find himself. He will realize that, oh, we did luck into love. I do love you. I do understand what love is. And come back to me. And that's the only way that I want him back, loving me. So, I guess I put myself on the cross for a potential future where I can be with the man I love. And I lived with this guy who was abusive, so abusive. I mean, I let him use my car, my hearse. I let him use my hearse to move stuff and to take me places. And when I was like spun, we had a key made. And it was like his $3 or whatever, but it was my vehicle. It wasn't his vehicle. It wasn't his key. And when I asked for the keys back after we were all moved into the new apartment, he wouldn't give them to me. It was so weird. I'd ask him for the keys, and he would just sit there and stare at his phone like I never said anything. And I asked him a few times, several different days, several different times, and he wouldn't give them to me. So then I demanded it. I was like, I'm not asking anymore. I'm telling you that those are the keys to my vehicle. That is not your vehicle to use at your leisure because you're not taking care of your car. That's not what's going on here. You're not burning through my vehicle after you neglect to update all the time. I don't let it. And where was I? Oh yeah, it wasn't his hearse. So instead of give me the keys back to my car, he broke them. He broke car keys. Like, what kind of violent-minded, abusive man does that? Right? So messed up. So messed up. And, I flipped out. And, I mean, I don't, you know, it's difficult to deal with, the whole minefield of, oh, I was abusive to him, I was a psycho, versus I'm being routinely, systematically abused and gaslighted constantly, and tit for tat, and just dealing with bullies. Like, you don't let someone fuck with you. You don't ever fucking call the cops, but you don't let someone fuck with you. So he broke my keys and threw them in the trash, and that's what he said he did. That's what he said he did, folks. Do I trust this guy? Not any further than I can throw him! So I fucking was like, oh, they're in the trash? Why don't you find them then? Get them out of the trash. And he wouldn't get them out of the trash. So I dumped the trash on his bed so he could find them easier. And it was gross trash, and I dumped trash on his bed. Bedding can be cleaned, and I didn't think it was like that grievous of a crime. He is like, what he'd done to me up to that point, like, I was like, this is okay. This isn't that big a deal. And nothing is permanently damaged, you know? But yeah, I dumped trash on his bed. Well, you know, it was that stuff all the time. We weren't even fighting about anything. We were getting along, and he took my favorite pair of shoes and threw them in the creek and told me about it like days later. It was so weird. Like, he's so bad, you guys. He's so bad. And that's why I'm telling you this. I'm telling you this so you stay away from this very bad person. Again, his name is Josh Jones, or Josh Cockrell. His brother is Peter Cockrell. His mother's Janya Rakowski. She has many names, though. And, should I make a long story short? Things escalated in the living situation with him. He treated me increasingly poorly. Doing the thing that is like the worst thing you can do to someone who has an invisible chronic illness, like, oh, well, you were able to do this yesterday, but now you can't walk a block to the trash can to take the trash out, like that shit all the time. Like, so when I feel well enough to do something, you are like suspicious that I'm well enough to do something, and when I'm not able to do something, you're an asshole to me. Like, it was just bad, and I needed to get out of it anyway, but there was also toxic black mold in my bathroom that's adjoined to my bedroom, and the maintenance people also broke into the apartment and stole all of my medication, and we had a broken window of our first floor apartment for the entire remainder of us being there. For like 8 months, there was just a hole where a window should be, right at the level of the ground, where all you'd have to do was like pop in. I mean, I fucking took care of shit myself after maintenance wouldn't do anything about it, and I took the door off of my fucking room and I screwed it up over the fucking window hole. You know? Like, oh, not modify the apartment? Fuck you. That place was the worst. You know, and it's funny. It's funny, like, the way things work, because his name, he took his wife's name when he married her. Like, he married her to get a better name because he was called Josh Cockroach. And he is a cockroach. And that apartment was like they knew he was his king. They were coming out of the vents and the walls. And it was like, I'd never seen so many cockroaches in my life. Literally hundreds of them pouring under the front door. Nightmare experiences, because he is the cockroach king. Josh Cockroach. Ugh. And, so it was a bad situation, and I needed to get out of it and wanted to get out of it. But something had to happen that was really messed up for me to realize it. And then the other thing is that, I had made a friend who had a big house that was like you repair it and you flip it. Like, you don't live in it, but like I could like squat there basically. And I also had a personal care attendant who was so like vital in just like being there and changing the experience and bringing the perspective into my life of what was going on. Like I told him what had happened. Um, One morning I woke up and it was like Saturday morning around, I don't know, 8 o'clock or whatever, and I was sitting on the sofa looking out the window, and Josh was sleeping in his chair in the living room because he falls asleep in his chair in the living room and then acts like I'm intruding in his bedroom. And he turned the TV off and I turned it back on, and I was like messing with the exercise bike and like just like talking to myself and getting woken up, and he sleeps through his alarm going off right next to his head for 3 hours. I really didn't think that my like little like chattering to myself my good morning was gonna be that disruptive, but it was. And the final straw was he was making coffee and he turned off the TV, where I don't know what I don't think it was cartoons. I think it was like trance music or something. But he turned off the TV and he took the remote and he was like, "Ha ha ha, I took the remote." And you know, like in my mind, like this is just a bully. I was bullied all through school. I know what a bully looks like. This is just a bully. Abusive fucking rapists are just fucking bullies grown up. It's wild. And so I took his coffee and I was just gonna like whenever he like tells himself about what this situation might have been, exactly what I was going to do was set the coffee right outside the patio and lock the patio door. And like that was as far as I got. I was just gonna set his coffee outside and be a jerk to him the way he was being a jerk to me. But I touched his coffee, his drug of choice, and he flipped the fuck out. And we like wrestling me for the coffee, like tackling me against the wall. Coffee got all over us. Hot coffee, but not too hot because I grabbed it early in its cycle. And coffee got all over the floor. His daughter was there and saw it, and when it ended, I was like, "You're not seriously gonna leave me clean all this up, are you? We made this mess together. We clean it together. That's how you do things. It takes two people to fight. We're both responsible for it. We both need to clean it up." And I said that to him. And I said that to him in front of his daughter. And I was like, "I will not be okay if you leave this apartment today and you don't help clean up this coffee. This is a mess we both made. Like, it will not be okay. I don't know what I'll do, but like your behavior is completely uncalled for. I was just trying to enjoy my morning. You're acting as though I like violated you by being in the living room of the apartment that we mutually pay for and occupy." It was so messed up. And so I just kept saying that. I just kept saying it will not be okay because that's where I was. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had ideas. I was like, he's going to come home and find that all of his comic books are a pile of ashes. I love to burn things. And all I knew was that he couldn't walk away from this, and he was trying to do that. And he wouldn't do it. His 9-year-old daughter got on her hands and knees and was cleaning up coffee with me. Because I was cleaning up the coffee. I was cleaning up the coffee as I'm asking for help cleaning up the coffee. I'm not pointing at the coffee and going, "You did that, it's your fault." And his 9-year-old daughter got on her hands and knees and she helped me clean up the coffee. And he was like, "Oh, well, you're being a decent human being in front of my daughter, my God." And like did like bare minimum like bullshit to participate, and it was like, okay, that, you know, that was okay. And I told my personal care attendant what had happened, and he was like, "That's not okay. That's not okay." And I told him that I was afraid of Josh, and he said that's not okay. And so um I'm so thankful. You guys, I love my personal care attendant. Oh my God, Caleb, I miss him like every day. He was precious. I've never wanted to be friends with someone so badly in my life, I don't think. He was just everything I could have wanted in a friend. And he claims that he was straight, which is like just nice because there's just like a thing with like your gay friend. Like he wouldn't have been my gay friend. And that would have been really nice to like sing and act and play D&D with my not gay friend. I'm like fine with having gay friends and fine with being gay or whatever, but that was just like a very nice element to it. Um and so he helped me. I was like, I really want to get out of this situation and I can go to this guy's house and it's kind of like squatting, but I feel like I'll be safer there until I can figure out something more permanent. I really felt like I wasn't safe there living with Josh anymore. And then here's the other thing that happened, and this is what I actually went to the court with and tried to get the restraining order with. And I didn't even mention that I had been raped before we even moved in there. I didn't even mention that. Because remember, hashtag safe rape. He wanted to, I didn't want to. I was incapacitated, I was so drunk I couldn't sit up. So I said yes. I said, get a condom, get a condom, get a condom, get a condom, yes, okay. And I let him have his way with me. Hashtag safe rape. Can't rape the willing, right? Right. Well, anyway. So, I didn't tell my PCA that. He didn't know that part. I don't know if he intuitively knew it, but I didn't tell him that. What I told him was about the time that I had been really upset about life and pain. Pain was bad, and I needed Josh's help to get to my bed. And so he helped me get to my bedroom door, and our doors were right across from each other, like tiny little hallway doors, exactly opposite. Are we mirrors of one another or what? And he said, I just want to comfort you. Just come into my room and I'll just hold you. And I was like, dude, I'm not in the mood to be fending you off. You really have to just be like on your best behavior. Don't try anything with me. And he was like, I will be a perfect gentleman. And I was dumb enough to trust him. And so he took me to his bedroom, his bed, which is just blankets on the floor. This is someone who wouldn't buy a bed for his daughter to sleep in the bedroom. He made her sleep on the floor. And and like again, the thing is, he wasn't spending the money on drugs. He was buying comic books. Comic books that he like didn't need and like didn't read and just piled up for the most part. Just had to spend that money on comic books instead of getting a bed for himself or for his daughter to sleep in or paying for her to get dental work with her completely fucked up teeth. Like, there's no excuse for it. It's not like, oh, the drugs make you do bad things. Like, yeah, no, he's just a narcissist. And so I'm in his bedroom and he's holding me and it's like, oh, it's so nice. And then part of my pain, like, it helps to be held still because I want to writhe, and it helps to put pressure on certain like parts of my back and my hip. And that was nice. And then it got not nice. And I was in too much pain to get up. I was in so much pain that it hurt excruciatingly to breathe. Just the inhale and the exhale. So much pain. I had to breathe shallow. I had to wait 6 seconds between a breath. 8 seconds between a breath. I couldn't get up. He was holding me. And he was not a perfect gentleman. He said he wanted me to kiss him. And I said, okay, I'm going to kiss your forehead. Don't try anything. And he tried something. And so I kissed his forehead, I kissed his cheek. I was like, "You're my friend. We're buddies. Thank you for taking care of me." Act okay. The weird thing is that like what I did was act like a little kid, and he tried to put his hand down my pants. Which really makes me worry for his daughter, honestly. And he fell asleep holding me, and I couldn't get out of that bedroom for I don't know how long, but it seemed like forever. I had to sit still until the pain subsided enough that I could try to get up, and every time I would shift, he would pull me back down. I've never been so scared in my life. I've never felt so helpless. And I never stop thinking about it every night. I think about it every night. Every night before I go to bed. I think about that. He didn't rape me. He tried to finger me against my will and just held me in a bedroom. So that's what I told the court offices, the protection agency, and that's what I went to court for. And nothing could happen because they couldn't find him to serve him. And that's why I'm here online. Because I was like, well, I can't do anything. I tried. I should have said that he raped me at that point. I should have said that he raped me, but I didn't. I said that he held me in a bedroom. And so they tried to get him for entrapment and kidnapping. Those were the charges. But he couldn't be served. Nothing could happen. And I was like, well, I went to the law. And it was Caleb who convinced me to do that. It was Caleb who told me, Mindy, if you don't tell people what happened, then someone else might go through this. And then if they tell someone, they might not be believed because there's no record of it. Like I did that, and I thought that trying that and failing at that, like, that was everything I could do, and it's not, because I can get on the internet, and I can say Josh Jones, Josh Cockrell, Josh Cockroach, John Yurikowski, Peter Cockrell, these people who live in the Kansas City area, they are dangerous. They might be harboring a sexual predator. I can do more. I have a rather large platform from which I can speak. And so I'm just hoping that talking about this and doing this actually, like, finishes the contract that I have and lets me let go of this trauma because I will have done everything then. Because I will have cleared my conscience that I have done everything I can to make sure that no other girl is raped by Josh Jones. No other person feels like I did. That's all I want. I think he needs education. I think he needs therapy. Like, I think he's a psychopath. I think he's a psychopath. And he had a bunch of books on poisons. He might have poisoned my cat. She died really suddenly after a lot of violent sickness, and it could just be the food adjustment because cats just like outgrow the ability to digest the food they've been eating. Even if you switch up the flavors, the brand has to be changed, and we did that, and the other cats adjusted, and she never did. She just stayed sick, and I mean, I put her on probiotics, and I took her to the vet, and she died the day after I tried to get the restraining order. I told the court that they should take that man's daughter from him, and I lost my daughter. Everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. If I hadn't gone through all of that with him, if he hadn't brought out the darkness in me, I wouldn't be standing so surely, bathed in light like I am. Because, oh my God, I wanted my mind to kill him. I wished things would happen that would also kill me just to kill him. I would just, like be consumed with vivid vivid scenarios of murdering him every which way. And it got to the point that I had to just like stare him down. I had to look at him and be like, this is someone who deserves love. Love is transformative. I cannot wish harm upon another without also wishing harm upon myself. I have to see the good in him. I have to believe it is there. I have to nurture that. And I did that. And the night I did that, the biggest cockroach that I ever saw came out in the hallway, and it was wild. It was wild. Like I slayed a demon. I slayed a demon that day. And that's the thing of me. That's the thing of me. I'm a mirror. And if you know me, then you're here. You're here for an exorcism. And you know what? We're going to exorcise those demons, because you're going to be a monster like you never knew you could be, because you love me, and love makes you do crazy things because you think you love me. People are monsters sometimes. How to exorcise a demon? Good question. You just run it down. Like, everything that I went through with him, it escalated so alarmingly. Anybody that I talked to in my life, they were like, this is an abusive situation. You need to get out of this abusive situation. Like, he might kill you. And I was like, yeah, you're right. But you know what? We're standing opposite one another, and he's bringing out demons in me. Hi, I'm a bot. He's bringing like really bad stuff to the surface of me. And I was bringing really bad stuff to the surface of him. And I believe that we make soul contracts before we're even running this course of life. And it was just something that needed to be carried out. And so that demon in him was, you know, there because I was in his life. I brought it out of him. Now, granted, he may well have been a sexual predator, a rapist, a monster before he knew me, and he probably was. But he was even becoming afraid of himself. He was like, when I recounted and was like, this is messed up. You did not let me out of the room. I was in too much pain, and you said you'd be a gentleman, and you weren't. You tried to finger me, and you tried to violate me, and that was so scary. I confronted him with that, and he just like, he was white as a ghost. It was like he was being told that he had done something he had no awareness of, or just so horrified at his own actions. Oh, weird. Bots. I don't have any experience with that. Oh yeah, like they spell it exorcise, and I disagree. I think it's exercise. You've got to take it out, and you've got to let it run, and you've got to run it down. So that's, you know, I was a mirror for him, and he was a mirror for me. Whatever he couldn't accept in himself, he saw in me, and whatever I couldn't accept in myself, I saw in him. He wasn't someone who was good, but he wanted to be. And I wasn't someone who was bad, but I used to be. And it was getting to be to the point where, like, I was going to be homeless. I was shit out of luck. There was no one to take care of me. Like, the government doesn't have anything it can do for me, no matter how disabled I am. Like, it's just, I'm on every housing list. I mean, I was on every housing list. I'd done everything that I could think of, and I was just going to be shut out of luck. It was fast getting to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start blowing things up. Yeah. and setting fires, and it's time to be Harley. And if he wants to be my Joker, then we're just gonna smash the town. But you know, that was something that was like, whoa, I'm surprised that that was in me still. And I definitely have released that now. It was really interesting. You know, he raped me, and I said that I believe that sex is sacred, and the reason that I believe that is because everyone I have sex with, I know when they're having sex with someone else when it's happening, because I accidentally like astral project and like see, kind of experience it. It's horrible. Like if that happened to you, you wouldn't have sex with so many people. It's dreadful. But yeah, he'd raped me. It wasn't consensual sex, but I still like knew when he had sex with someone. And that was bizarre because he had sex with someone he met on the internet. And it was this girl that I knew through my first boyfriend's job at Baskin Robbins. Weird. I'm not familiar with this. I've never live streamed before, but it's just a bot popping up and like getting lost. I don't know what that's about, but uh yeah. So, where was I? Oh no, did I lose my train of thought? That happens. There's a lot to keep track of. Hi from Russia, we hack bot. How to exercise a demon. I'm trying to focus on that, and I'm trying to like keep the train of thought. So this guy that I didn't want to have sex with that raped me, I was still spiritually linked to him. I still knew when he was having sex. I knew what he was thinking. I predicted his behavior, and like uh, it was disturbing to him. I didn't want it either. And so I did this like ritual cleansing, like a meditation, but a lot more active than that. I dance it out. So how do you exorcise a demon? Fucking dance it to death. And I released him. I released him spiritually, energetically. I let go of him with love. I was like, I just don't want to be entangled with you anymore. And it was after that that the roommate situation with him just escalated like so wildly out of control. He was threatening to kill my cat. He was threatening to poison my water. He yeah, he was really bad news. And I think that it's important for me, just the way that I experience life, that here I am opposite this person who's got their demons, and because they love me, there ain't no love and demon occupying the same place. Oh, I'm sorry, sweetie. That's terrible. Breakdancing is awesome. Yeah. You you have to love. You have to love at evil. It's such a strange thought, but you have to love at evil because it dies in the light. So, what I do, my visualization, is that I'm just this tree of light, like a pillar, just a pillar of light. And when I feel grounded and connected and like I'm centered in the flow of creation, that light just blasts through the atmosphere and it just destroys demons all around me. Yeah, thank you. I have lots of subscribers. um, so I I know that there's a term light worker, and I identify with that. I really do, because it's light work that you do. You can't hate something enough to make it go away or to change it. It's love that's transformative. So that's why I would just fix my eyes on this guy that was abusing me and just find love in my heart for him. And it was when I did that that he would become the most horrible monster. So I ran into him the other day in a store. That's how this is happening, is that I just ran into him. He like must live around me, and that brought up all of this trauma stuff, and I don't want to carry that for another year. So I'm trying to figure out how I can get it out of me, and hoping that this works. But what else can I say? I I have a I have a view of the world that is like unusual. I believe that there are parasitic entities that they're mindless like ants or wasps. Oh my God, this guy, this abusive guy, Josh Jones, he's like protector of the wasps. If you know anything about wasps, they're so destructive and horrible to the rest of Mother Nature. They like almost just don't even belong here, and don't serve a purpose in nature. And like if I tried to mess with a wasp, like he would be like, "Don't you do that." It was like, "That's what you go to bat for? Wasps?" Yeah. He was, and his favorite comedian is Louis C.K. Isn't that funny? The guy that we were friends hanging out in the kitchen, he whipped his dick out in front of me. His favorite comedian is Louis C.K. And we're talking over 2 years ago he did this, like long before there was any awareness that Louis C.K. was a sexual predator. It's just, we gravitate towards ourselves always. Always. If there's anybody in your life, it's because they're there to provide a reflection of you that you are willing to accept on the face of another. And that's how I approach all relationships in my life. That's why I don't have a lot of relationships, but I have really super intense ones. Um, there's debate about whether or not you should say it. I personally do not believe in Voldemorting things. You give something so much more power by being like, the word, he who must not be mentioned. So I don't have a problem saying it. And archons, archontic energy, archons are just parasitic spiritual insects. And they latch on to us, and they want suffering to happen because they feed on that energy. So they manipulate us to do bad things, be bad people, cause suffering, suffer ourselves, and oh, there is no one more miserable than Joshua Jones. And so that's the other thing that I recognize. Whenever someone is being evil, it's because they are hurting and they have a parasite. So that's the other thing that I realize when I'm dealing with someone who's being evil to me, is that it's in a way not even them. They're not exactly in control of themselves because they don't realize what is making them be evil, because they don't have that awareness that I do. Um, trying to think of who the John Lamb Lash? John Lash Lamb? I swear it's Lamb Lash. I swear it's Lamb Lash. That sounds so funny. But I think he's someone who actually talks about the energy parasites, and the archons. They're so named because they are such an ancient concept that such old Gnostic cultures believed in, just took as a fact of life, that the old ones were here feeding on our energy. What time is it in the place that I live? 3:22. Oh, I missed the thing about the homeless population. How do I... does this little window let me see the chats? Oh goodness, I'm so afraid to like mess it up. It's like a miracle that I figured out how to get live. I live in San Francisco and the homeless population here has become worse than ever. You know, I think that we're coming to a point where a whole lot of people need to die. And I know that sounds like a really bad thing to say, but there's a whole lot of people on the planet that are not really on the planet. I don't know if you've interacted with many homeless people. I've been homeless myself, and homeless people are some of the most hopeless people. It's by and large mental illness that becomes addiction, and there's really nothing that can be done for them with any conventional knowledge. Like, if we knew how to deal with spiritual illness and understood that mental illness is spiritual awareness not understood, then we could begin to address the problem of people talking to, you know, things that we can't see and having the foil on their head and like not eating anything because it's all poisoned and the government listens and all of that. You know, there's truth to all of that. And that's why you can't shake it. You can't shake that idea. And then it's very sad, and I don't want to sound like unsympathetic, but I kind of am, because I'm just pragmatic. There are too many people on the earth. The problem with the earth, the country, and everything here is simply that there are more people than the planet can sustain. There shouldn't be a food shortage. There shouldn't be a home shortage. We are reproducing at an alarming rate, and increasing exponentially is frightening. So my take on it is that a whole lot of people need to die, and it would be great if we could heal the homeless and the drug addicted and the hollowed out remnant shadows of people who haunt the planet, but I don't think that that is practical or doable. In the future, where we know that schizophrenia is just like, oh, that's a shaman. Let's train him in the ways of shamanism, and he'll be a contributing member to society and help other people, and it'll be great. Like, we're like, oh no, you're not psychic, you're psychotic. Let's give you a chemical lobotomy. Or actually real lobotomies. Like, people still get real lobotomies. Electroshock therapy, that is so scary. Like, to be in the hospital with someone who's like, I'm going for my electroshock therapy, and they never come back. Like, their body does, but they're not the same person at all, and it's scary. I've had enough experiences with people on substances that alter their consciousness and mental illness that is so severely treated badly with conventional medicine, medication, and the psychiatric death machine. Have you seen Psychiatry, an Industry of Death? It's quite interesting. Turns out we're just as barbaric as we were like 500 years ago. We're just like making it a lot easier to watch now. And let's see, where was I? I was talking about pragmatism. A lot of people need to die. Oh, I really think that it would be kind to provide comfortable and loving euthanization to people who wish to not be alive and have no quality of life. I think that there should be a degree of evaluation. I I know that somebody actually has made a suicide machine where you just go in the little capsule and it kills you comfortably. Um, but first of all, I think that's expensive, and it needs to have some regulation. People need to be evaluated, and if what they want is to not be occupying this realm anymore that is their hell, then let's let them leave. Because the more people that we get off of the planet that look at the planet like it's hell, the more like hell it's going to be. I believe that the world is created as we walk. The ground rises up to meet my feet. I am God. You are too. You don't want to believe it because it's a lot of responsibility. I know it sucks. It's hard to deal with. But if we looked at life like, oh, this could be heaven. If we just treated other people as if they were ourselves, because guess what they are? We're one consciousness, fragmented, for the purpose of knowing itself. How, like, intense is that? It's so intense. I've been accused of being intense. I have to commute using the Bay Area Rapid Transit to get to work, restaurants, friends' houses. Oh, no, it goes away. Okay. I don't want to hide it. I don't need to see myself. Okay, can I scroll? Okay, I can scroll through it. I have to commute using the BART, Bay Area Rapid Transit, to get to work, restaurants, friends' houses, etc. During my commute, I often see homeless people in BART stations, and it fucking goes away again. So I have to, like, keep my finger on it. Technology. They stink like piss and shit on the sidewalk with no regard to anyone else around. I know, right? Like, honestly, if these were dogs acting like this, we would think that putting them down was a kindness to them. And yet we allow people to continue suffering in their own squalor, creating squalor for us to live in. It's ridiculous. Oh man, you broke his ribs. That's brutal. But like homeless people are so often psychotic and unpredictable. You really it's there's a reason that people ignore them. Crazy people, they will like come to life like a rabid animal sometimes if you actually acknowledge that you've seen them. And if that's what you instinctually did, then you were probably right to do it, yo. I don't understand homeless people having pets. Like, even us having pets is pretty fucked up. But, like, homeless people having pets, you can't care for yourself. You can't feed yourself. And so you take on the responsibility. This is my fucking, like, you need to pass an exam and be verified that you have the funds to support having a child should you want to procreate with another human being. Because don't, like, have some living thing that you take responsibility for that you can't take responsibility for. It's bullshit. Reddit AITA, I don't know what that means, but butterfly knives are good knives. Oh, cool. Yeah, a lot of people think I'm like a monster because I'm like, a lot of people should die. Like, are you really that sad that a tsunami wiped out like this remote village of people who don't have enough food and water and no one can take care of them? Like, let's wash as many people out in disasters as we can and not be sad about that. Thoughts on juuling? I don't know what juuling is, so I don't have thoughts on it. But yeah, I've never like violently acted upon any of this that I have. Like I mean, I'll be honest with you, I get fed up. I get real fed up and I get real angry, and like when I get to the point where I'm going to, blow up a mall or hospital, or, be a domestic terrorist to get people to stop buying junk food that's making them sick and dependent on the fucking government, draining the resources of everything, because I digress. When I get sick of the population, I've never done anything to do anything about it, but like, whenever there's a disaster, I'm like, yay, people died. Okay, good. And like, I'm not, people should die. A whole lot of people should die. There's a lot of bad people that, like, prisons are stupid. If, like, and it's just a money-making machine, and that's all it's intended to be. That's all it's intended to be. It's not rehabilitation. It's just cashing in on someone. Yeah, like, death penalty would be a lot better. Enjoying your chat, but can't keep eyes... Can't keep this thing visible. All messages are visible. Enjoying your chat, but can't keep eyes open. Night. Vijay! Bye-bye, Vijay! Sweet dreams! I said that like snarky, but I just felt weird about going from talking about a whole lot of people should die to being like, sweet dreams, love and light. But I am. Like, I'm not this like evil, heartless person. I really... Love is transformative. Like, we need more love, but like we also need to recognize that we need to be doing something to end suffering. And that means a whole bunch of things. It means removing all of the conventional processed junk food that is only now beginning to be understood how damaging and deleterious that has been on our genetic structure, because it's been 3 generations. 3 generations! Now is when we know. 3 whole generations. There's nobody around anymore who hasn't been genetically altered because of processed foods. It's bad. The results are in. We are so up shit creek if we continue on this path. And it's like, oh my god. It's so annoying because there's like this... I can't think of what it is, but like uppity motherfucking rich celebrity types trying to diet and like, oh, I'm better and I care about the animals. Like, I will eat a fucking dog. I don't care. It's not about that. Like, if I'm hungry and starving, I'm going to eat whatever meat I can. People, yes, right? Like, I'm not in it for that, but we're wasting space on cows. Like, there's a homeless problem and there's a food shortage, and we're just destroying the environment and wasting tons and tons of land eating cows. Like, that's fucking stupid. If you want to eat a cow, have a cow in your backyard. Let's go back to farming. We can all have our own little farms, and whatever you want to eat, you can have, or like your neighbor can have. And I don't know how this is gonna get fixed if it's not a huge disaster. Like, honestly, I was like, Trump, yeah, that sounds good. It's about time people not be able to ignore how fucked up democracy is and how insane this whole shit show has gotten. I mean, bring it all down. People are pissed. At least people are pissed now. You should have been pissed all along. It's been bad all along. You were just able to ignore it. So, yeah, I'm not... Like, I don't think Hillary's a better option. At all. I don't think Hillary's a better option. Lesser of evils, let's put the guy in office who's going to make change happen. If for no other reason than the people become so outraged and shit gets so out of hand that a whole lot of people die and we get a cleaner slate to create on. I don't know. But yeah, vegans really annoy me. And it's fucking stupid to not eat honey because that doesn't harm the bees. Honey's pretty good for you. And we do need sugar. Personally, when I eat meat, I feel more like an animal. Like I feel like fucking, and I feel like fighting, and I feel aggressive, and for that reason it's part of maintaining my mental balance and spiritual well-being to not eat meat. But this year I'm starting this new diet. It's Gundry, I want to say is the name. Gundry, but I don't know the first name. But it's an anti-lectin diet because there's big lectins that are punching holes and perforating our intestinal lining, so our immune system is going haywire and attacking things that we need and making us sick. Okay. Your views are pretty brutal, but I appreciate how you think for yourself and not agree with the populace. Oh, yeah. Yeah, my views are pretty brutal. I know it. If someone rapes you and decides halfway through they want to give up, but you simultaneously decide that you actually want them to have sex with you, can you legally rape them? Oh, wait. Ah! Fucking. Sorry. Like, if your rapist is raping you, then you say, "Get over here," Mortal Kombat style, and you tackle them and start raping them. Is that legal? So, you're suggesting that when we're getting raped, we should become the rapist? I like that idea. So, instead of mace, women should be carrying dildos and vibrators. And they should be switchblades, right? You know, like I said, I don't act violently, but like I don't shy away from dark thoughts that I have, or like that's just entertaining to me. Like I don't think it makes me like a psychopath. That like I really think it's funny if women started carrying switchblade dildos to rape their rapists with. Like, sounds like that might work. That might work. That'd be a good movie. A Black Mirror. Let's make a Black Mirror about that. This is kind of fun, and the person on the bottom no longer wants sex. Is this illegal? Asking for a friend? You really asking for a friend, or are you asking for yourself? You know, I wonder if like bondage and rough sex and dominatrix stuff like that isn't some expression of rape culture. There should be a whole lot more thoughts about that, but like this is a whole lot of talking for me. I haven't talked like this. Have to share one of my favorite Halloween memories with you guys. So a few years back, I developed a rather interesting fetish, a fetish that I still have to this day. What's your fetish? Every time I go to Walmart this time of year, I tend to buy out all of the pumpkins. Less all of them. Kind of like the dumb fuck you read in math problems. Buying 50 watermelons. Afterwards, I would race home and carve out a hole big enough for my fuck muscle. Fuck muscle, that's funny. In each pumpkin and proceed to fuck the shit out of every one of them. Just the feeling of my cock smashing into the squash. Squash the squash. Squashes have rights. Sorry. I can be a brat. I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not always horribly abrasive, but like, I can entertain any thought. Oh, keep opening actions. Oh my god. So annoying. I can't. It sounds like you're writing the next Chuck Palahniuk novel. Or Choke 2. Have you read Choke? Or any Palahniuk? Chuck Palahniuk wrote Fight Club. which is a great movie. It is the only instance where the movie is better than the book. The book is good, don't get me wrong, but Fight Club, the movie, is actually better than the book. It's wild. Pumpkin fucking, that's interesting. You know, I have always been like, why don't I have a dick? I wish I had a dick. If I had a dick, I would put my dick in that. If I had a dick, I would put my dick in that. Like, there's a pretty good reason in this lifetime Mindy don't got a dick. Because I would be like, yeah, that looks like that would feel good. Like, when I had, like, my boyfriend, my ex-boyfriend, I was always like, do you think your dick would fit in that? Like, let's see if your dick will fit in. And I'm talking like donuts and random things. Never a vacuum cleaner. That's boring. That's been done. But yeah, I would not be a good male. So it's a good thing that I'm not a male. And don't even get me started on the whole transgender movement. I have opinions that are not popular. That's weird. I'm pretty sure I wrote like a rap that I should be summoning right now about that I've got unpopular opinions. But yeah, I'm not afraid to voice my opinions. My perspective is valuable because no one else has it. Absolutely no one else has my perspective, and no one else has your perspective. So, like, by sharing my perspective, we can, like, only expect minds to be expanded. If nobody shares their perspective, however, like, abrasive it is, then our minds are closed, and they're not like, the brain has plasticity, and your brain can learn new things at any age and teach itself new tricks and develop new pathways and grow and change all through your life. Neuroplasticity is real. Also, your mind is, your imagination is. The more you exercise it, like, the easier it is to play with it. And you know what? That's really important because we use our imagination to visualize what we want to manifest in reality. Apparently, I've manifested a pumpkin rape story. That's kind of neat. I love Halloween! I love Halloween, and there's, like, seriously rotting pumpkins, like, right behind me. Because I didn't get rid of my 2 pumpkins. I never got around to carving them. I guess I'm just not properly motivated, not having a, what did you call it? Fuck muscle? I haven't heard that before. I haven't heard a lot before. I don't watch any pornography of any kind. I never have. I personally believe that I am creative enough to entertain myself sexually without needing, like, suggestions, and I just think it's, like, wrong. It's wrong to do to yourself because your brain doesn't separate what you're viewing from experiencing it. So, like, you feel like you're experiencing it. That's why you get turned on, because that brain connection is there. Oh my god. You fucked jack-o'-lanterns? That's so funny. Like, it seems like a victimless crime if that's what you did, but I don't know if I should be encouraging the sexual deviancy. It is an excellent story, however, and I thank you for sharing it with us. That is, like, really special. Do I have any Halloween stories? Not that I can a graphic carving depicting Rick and Morty having raw, rough anal sex. No. Yes! Rick and Morty fan! Me too. Rick and Morty fan. Not pumpkin fucking. Dude, did someone really carve that into a pumpkin? I mean, I'm just assuming that you're like pulling my leg at this point. I mean, it's entertaining. I'm not mad about it if you're lying. Like storytellers are liars, right? Like there's a place for that. So, I don't care whether you are or not, really, but that is cool. That's really cool. That sounds like an amazing pumpkin. Like, can you imagine carving that? And it's like, that's such a weird, to even sexualize Rick and Morty is weird. Yes. Oh, I love Morty's excruciating pain faces. TBH, I'm kind of a Rick. I think you knew that. I think you knew that. You fucked a pumpkin. Okay, like it's getting to be so much detail. It's kind of like porn fanfic, and like I said, I don't do porn. So I'm like, I don't mean to ignore you, but we just need to change the subject now. Because your brain can't experience porn happening without like thinking that it's getting sex, and that's why we get turned on by just looking at things and the prospect of sex. Um, and that's why we sympathize with people who are being injured and are hurting, because what we see, our brain doesn't allow for a complete separation from other human beings, and that's because indeed, in fact, we are all spiritually linked and just unaware of it. There's something sticky on my thing, and now I have a sticky thing to fiddle with, so that's fun. The mystery pumpkin rapist. The pumpkin rapes shall continue. Did you seriously see yourself on the news? That's so cool. I wish to see myself on the news. I thought that I finally met somebody who would like go be, I mean, bad, but I don't know. I don't know if it's that bad. What I wanted to do was get like as many donuts as can possibly be obtained, and this guy works at a donut shop, so like it was like, oh wow, kismet. And just have a sea of donuts in front of a fitness place. So like part of making this happen really quickly and easily is having them on like wax paper or foil, so you just slide them off of the pallet and just like a dozen donuts with each box. So like they won't actually be sitting on the ground. And these people who are trying to lose weight and not eat donuts probably like have to not eat like 500 donuts to get into their fitness place. And I thought that would be cool to do, and I wondered if it would make the news. But I was actually going to record it and just post it anonymously. But it's looking like it's not going to happen now, so I just told you. I don't think it's that bad. Fucking with people who are trying to lose weight. I don't know. Like I really am like all about being vibrantly healthy, and that means eating right and exercising. But a healthy body and a healthy mind is very, very different. And people are just so dead inside and unaware of their ability as powerful co-creators. What else can I talk about now? What do you want me to talk about? Okay. Stop distracting myself with the... Hey, do you know this is live, so does it go away or is it recorded in some fashion? Because I don't know. I've never done live before. Usually what I do is record on my phone and upload it. You're funny. if I could get a news station to like run the story, like disabled girl raped by wolf in sheep's clothing, be on the lookout for this sexual predator. I am an avid TikTok hater. Okay, all I know of TikTok is that I have to watch TikTok ads and look at people do stupid shit with energy they have and waste their fucking time with energy that I want. And like, I fucking hate that. TikTok is the worst. It looks so annoying and such a waste of time. Like, I want to make videos, but like, I think that they're a lot better than that. Really? Well, dude, maybe my eyes just need to be opened. Like, TikTok is cool? Tell me why you like TikTok. It just looks like an annoying waste of time to me. Like you sing along to a song, like you lip sync. I see people lip syncing. Like it's just another platform for pretty girls to be sexy and get likes is my okay. Well, then yeah, that like that was my dismissal of it, is that it's another one of those things. I'm not on the internet to get people to jerk off to me. I'm sure they do, and I assume that they do, but like that's not my goal. And it's like so bizarre that anybody would want that. Like sexy Instagram feeds are just disturbing as fuck. Like, oh yeah, I feel good about myself because all these strangers have masturbated to me. On the other hand, though, sex magic is real, and whatever you focus on while you're masturbating, like, you put energy towards that. That's how I voted for Trump. I masturbated him into office. I mean, I didn't, like, exactly mean to, but I was like, yeah, that would be cool. Like, get everybody pissed off enough to actually make a change, and, like, I'm all for anarchy. I think it would be, like, really bad for a minute of history, but then, like, we actually have a chance to create something good, because we shouldn't be using a system that was created when people were unable to read, unable to connect to someone on the other side of the country. Like, this is bullshit. It's just so stupid. I don't follow government at all. And like I said, I don't watch porn, so I don't have like anything to go on other than my own personal sex experiences. So I really just like use it to charge my crystal and create reality for us to share. So you're welcome for Trump. He's very entertaining. People are angry. I mean, okay. While Trump has been in office, like, marijuana has become more and more legal. So, doesn't seem like it was the wrong choice. Because that's totally my goal. I don't really, I don't like it recreationally. Oh, you just, like, know that sexual energy is creative energy. Sex creates people, right? If it has the power to create people and summon consciousness from the ether to a material plane, it's incredibly creative and potent. And if you don't assign it to somewhere, then it might end up doing something that is like gonna be really bad for you. And so you just put it towards yourself. You're like, yes, I am awesome. I am charging my crystal. I am doing this for my health. I love me, making the world a better place, gonna have a good day. Like, it's just, you just focus on yourself and want what's best for you. It's pretty easy. That's how I do it. I don't masturbate very often. It's not very pleasurable. I mean, I have severe nerve damage, so things don't work properly. But yeah. That's local gov, though. Yeah, that is local gov. But I think that people living in a world where Donald Trump is the president makes a world where marijuana is legal and medicinal a lot less weird and a lot easier to accept. So it may serve it in that way. Or maybe people just like need to smoke weed to deal with the reality that some cartoon puppet human is I mean, the thing is it there's shadow government anyway, so it doesn't actually really matter who's in office. Like, things are handed down from so higher, it's not even funny. So it kind of doesn't matter to an extent. That's just what is used to distract people from, evil doing evil. And a lot of people are losing their shit, and like my friends with mental illness are not doing well, and there seems to be like a whole lot of stuff coming to the surface, and I was thinking that that's probably because someone evil is like trying to get rid of people who have an awareness or a connection to their ability to create reality so that they have the power. Because power, the entity, does not want you to realize that you have power. That's like the initial fuck up with religion, is that it's not that God has all the power, it's that you are God and you have all the power. So, yeah. I think Jesus was a real person, and I think he had a good message, and I think that he was used and fucked, and now, like, so much evil is done in his name, it's not even funny. I mean, I guess it is kind of funny. It's interesting. I think of I think of Christ consciousness. I think that Christ consciousness is pink, and that there is a like a purity and a good for benevolent people, and I think that they get really messed up. Like, I think Kurt Cobain had Christ consciousness. I think that I do to an extent. Sorry, I'm fiddling with something. I'm not really used to entertaining people. I mean, I sort of am. I don't know. I'm really active on Instagram and Twitter and my Facebook and everything. Or rather, those three things, and YouTube are everything for me. But as far as what I contribute to the internet, I really consciously intend for it to be a valuable contribution. So what I have is like a whole bunch of inspirational videos that just keep not getting made because I don't have a camera to do that. And dude, I have not even like given my review of Ready Player One, the movie. Have you read Ready Player One? You know what Insta is. Or, haha, Insta is manifestation, instant manifestation. The purer and more benevolent your intent for what you wish to create, the quicker the universe will spit it out at you. Like, I was like, oh, fuck, I need a wheelchair. And one day I woke up and I was like, oh, a thrift store has a wheelchair. A thrift store has a wheelchair today. I am getting that message loud and clear. Let's go out and get a wheelchair. And that's what I did. Went to a thrift store. They had a wheelchair. It was like $35, and I got my wheelchair. Because I truly needed it. It was a benevolent desire. What did you say? What would you do for a Klondike bar? What's my manifesto named? What is my manifesto named? I'm now trying to think, like, where have I, like, really had a manifesto? But I know you just mean Instagram. I don't know if I should give you my Instagram. If you really want it, you'll figure it out. Same with Twitter. I don't friend people on Facebook that I meet on YouTube or anywhere else on the internet, though. Facebook is like private for actual friends. So don't take offense if I don't approve you on Facebook. Like, it would have to be extenuating circumstances for me to friend you on Facebook, but I don't see the harm in you looking at pictures of toys and dolls. I'm so proud of my Instagram. Like, okay, I was on Tumblr, and Tumblr was my therapy. It was like, this is my happy place. And my Tumblr feed was like, it was for me first. But so many people were responding to it and liking it. Like, I had over 4,000 followers on Tumblr. And that felt really good to contribute that and share that, like, little mental health thing that I was doing with other people, and to, like, obtain more health together. It's like, yeah, collective consciousness at work. Tumblr was so cool. Instagram is kind of like that, but I cultivate my Instagram to reflect the reasons that I enjoy life, and to just like I look at my Instagram and I'm like, oh yeah, things are good. I haven't been able to get off of the sofa in days, and I haven't showered in a week, and it feels like I'm gonna die in pain, but I won't. And I can't do shit with my life, and my boyfriend doesn't love me, but damn, man, look at me, #living. I'm fun. I have fun. I'm losing my voice. Want to hear about a dream I had October 13th? I don't even know what this is going to be. Math test I knew I'd fail. All those tickets I had to take off the floor for Mr. P. The ladies there were so nice. Making food, lentils. Her jewelry was expensive and her son quite a character. Behind Mary Kay on the way back, and she didn't know. Went into a music classroom. Back in the classroom, I dished out small portions of food. It was all very good. Strange powers. A girl I saw in the office making copies. A goth-type girl. A boy at the office typing to communicate to me with his mind. Whoa! Trying to communicate to me with his mind. Threw something and it vanished, but the deodorant didn't, so the phenomena couldn't be replicated or predicted. I saw that girl again, wearing different clothes and shoes, but it was her. Watching a screen and someone comments that the cartoon boots a character wears are obvi Doc Martens. They aren't happy about the cartoon character obviously wearing Doc Martens. And that's a dream I had. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm happy for Tumblr getting rid of not safe for work. Like, that's supposed to be like a safe space for me and people who are similarly little-minded, like littles, people who identify as children, not in a sexual way, but in an innocent and vulnerable way. And that's all good, but like Tumblr was not removing things that were not safe for work. They were removing things like whatever the fuck they wanted, like in the name of not safe for work, and that was the problem. Got a salad recipe here. Oh my god, I love Furbies! I love Furbies! I have my Furby from when I was a kid, and that's the only Furby that I have. The gay porn should have stayed. Well, it's not like I have to see porn if I'm on Tumblr and I don't want to see porn, so it didn't bother me that it was used for that. Like, the internet is what it is because it's a porn industry. Like, I get that. Hi, Vibers! I am Mindy and I'm living intentionally. Marvel at my favorite things heaven sent to me. Hologram of love and light, all is meant to be. Sometimes it's easiest to make our decision based on what we don't want. Sure, the fear propaganda is bad news bears, but you can use it to your advantage by taking the decision to the next level. Not just saying, oh, I don't want that, but by stating, asserting confidently to the universe the things that you do want. Manifestation operates on the object held in vision. Envisioned. So that's why it's harder to stop a bad habit than it is to replace that bad habit with a better one. Bad habits, bad thoughts, futures you don't want to experience. Creation is deaf to don't. It operates on affirmative action and intent only. So whatever it is you don't want in your life, let it go and focus on what you do want. Only. Yeah. I envision a world free of pain and suffering, and I act in ways that support that decision I have made. So that intention I have gets re-upped all the time. Like, say you believe in a world where we live in harmony with the planet instead of harming it, and you recycle and reuse things and reduce waste for yourself personally, then you're giving power to that idea that the world can be a better place. You're creating a space for that world to become a reality. Even if recycling actually isn't good, it's more expensive and not a good use of resources. I'm understanding, I think. Recently I heard that recycling isn't good, and I was like, oh, well, it's good that I stopped recycling like 2 years ago when I moved in here. Maybe it is still good and I should do it, but it's the intention that counts, actually. Like, what you're doing, whatever you're doing, it matters what you're doing it for, why you're doing it. Playing with dolls really can open up doors. It's hard to imagine anything when you aren't sure how to use the muscle of your mind's eye. Whatever is not possible for you right now is pretty much always possible with a doll. Pretend to be one way until your mind settles that it's default. Like, by that I mean, like, oh, I can play with this doll and I'm in a bad mood, but like, this doll can be happy and she can be talking to this doll that's in a bad mood. And I mean, you're obviously like playing out your own drama, but like by pretending to be happy, you actually learn how to become happy. And a doll is someone to look at when you have a need. You know, what voice comes through a doll is a friend to you, and it wants to love you. Any entity that pops up, like if a mug starts talking to you, like it's a reflection of yourself. You're trying to talk to yourself and just using an object to do that. Well, it's easiest to do that with dolls that have human faces, and yeah. So what voice comes through is a friend who wants to be a friend to you and wants to love you and live with you. In this way, you sort of learn to be your own friend by befriending your doll. Dolls factor very largely into my life. This is Electra. Say hi, Electra. Don't even believe you're doing this. I'm going back to your trailer, ho! Sorry. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. I had an idea for a virtual pet. It would be a really good app, but I don't know how to make apps. Okay, have happy pumpkin raping dreams. Exorcise all of those demons in the ethereal plane, please. Love and light. Bye-bye. I love Furbies. Here's a Furby I drew. Can you see it? Look at its big pom-pom tail. Because I also love Popples. I love Popples and Furbies. So I want to make them one. I'm going to. I just need to get my hands on a Furby. I'm working on this right now. It's just a plastic Furby that I got at the thrift store. I want to make a regular Furby that works into the Furby Popple hybrid. But see, I need to cut out the popple shape from the ears here. And I'm not even sure that I want the cheeks to be blue, but I was just trying to get an idea. This one's so funny because he's like, can I like tag this? Because now it's Furbies. I hit share. Oh, can I like navigate away from this? Do I pause it for that? I don't even know how to... Oh, it looks like I don't hit anything to do play. It just is. And it doesn't look like it's like a new video, or it's not, I don't know. I actually don't know if it makes it available for recording on anything. Can I... This is my Furby. Look, he's got real hair, and it's white, so I can dye it. And I probably will, because quite honestly, I need the experience. I'm going to be customizing larger Furbies. This is a goal that I have for my life. I am Mindy and I'm living intentionally. Marvel let my favorite things haven't sent to me. Chronically ill, I spit sick wisdom with ill. Chronically ill, I spit sick wisdom with skill. Manifest through my third eye with my goodwill. Manifest through my third eye with my goodwill. I write raps like all the time, but I don't write them. They just rhyme. Oh my god, you guys, have you seen Kamen Rider X-Aid? It's so cool. It's like medical drama thing with video games. It's the coolest Kamen Rider that's ever been. And aesthetically, it's so fucking rad. Oh my god, Ari, you would love it. It's green and pink and awesome. Oh man, I really need to get your Christmas present in the mail. My bad friend. Oh, here's my... I was trying to do flower crossbreeding stuff. Peridot is awesome. I had to get that stuff at Mandrake, and it was very difficult navigating that site. I had to learn how to do it, and I learned how to do it, and I procured the items that I desired. I've never done that before. Like, I was so into this show. Oh my god. I was like, I'm gonna get the stuff, and I got the stuff. Like, it had just ended. I should have done it sooner, but my life got really hectic, and I got really behind on the show, and I didn't want to look at the toys because the toys would be spoily. The toys are totally spoily. If you look at the toys and you're not done with the series, it's like, oh, I can't unsee how awesome! Let me cancel this and start.